it's Rachel here, and today I am working on this PhotoPlay Folio album using Simple Stories Safe Travels collection. This is a video for Scrapbook Nerd, and this is part 2 of this little series that I'm doing in this folio. I figure it's going to take a long time to build this album, that it'll be a multi-part series. So this is part 2, and I did not get as much done as I would have hoped. This video was longer than I anticipated, but that's okay. We'll just make more parts to this series, and it'll be a lot of fun, and I hope you'll follow along to see this album completed. So I took some papers from the Simple Story Safe Travels 6x8 paper pad, and I cut them down to size, leaving a little bit of a matte kind of border thing, and sewed around the edges with black thread. In the first part, I did use a light pink thread, which I really liked, and I totally forgot that I used pink, but I love how the black turned out as well. So and also in the first video, if you didn't see it, you can see how I put this whole entire album together. It's really cool. You can get these packages from Scrapbook Nerd from PhotoPlay. Before I continue that sentence, I just want to say I accidentally put the adhesive on the wrong side of this triangle pocket, so I will cover it up eventually, but that was a little error I made. And then also, this wouldn't fit in, so I just had to trim it a bit in the part you couldn't see, and it all worked out fine. But this album is from PhotoPlay. It's a folio. It comes in like separate papers, and it's all scored, and it has a really simple, easy instruction sheet of how to put it all together with the pockets and the flips and the pages and all the things. It's really, really cool. I would highly recommend it. I'll leave all the links down below for where to get your hands on this album, because it's really cool. So that's what this series is about, putting this album together. And I'm really impressed with it. I know a lot of people can make these albums from scratch, and I think that's really cool. But I am new to the mini album world a little bit. I mean, the mini albums that I do are 6x8 albums that have pocket pages. So I use a lot of things that are kind of ready to go. So this is kind of my intro into like making it from scratch. I would rather just buy the album pre-made. So there are lots of different versions of this also, and we have a lot of different versions up on the Scrapbook Nerd website, which is really cool. Different kinds of flips or waterfalls or pockets or whatever. Okay, so you can see I put all of the papers on and I sewed them all beforehand, and then I just placed the photos in different pockets to kind of map it out and make sure everything, all the pictures had spots to go. And I realized as I was doing this that I need to switch a few things around. So I actually don't get to the second half of the pages that I put papers on. So you'll just see actually these couple of pages here, because it took me a long time to do. This is a very big album. Even though it doesn't look big, it's quite hefty for its appearance. It can fit a lot of stuff, is what I'm saying. And I like to do a lot of embellishing, and I like to embellish each of the individual photos. So you can see I took a cut apart and I put a photo behind it. So I did a little journaling on one side, and we'll eventually add more. And on the other side is the photo. And then for this one, I am taking another one of the cut aparts from the Simple Stories Safe Travels collection. And I'm also taking a tag and using that as well. So you'll see the different ways that I make the photos interesting, more than just putting the photos in pockets. It kind of makes the album more fun and interactive. So for this one, I am using a tag, and these tags in the Simple Stories collection are really cool because on one side you have lines, and on the other, and it's kind of like plain. I'm not sure if there's lines. I think there's lines or dots, or yeah, I think it's dotted. So you could do journaling on that side, and then the other side is just the cool design, whatever it is. So you could choose whichever side you wanted on. If you put your photo on the design side, then on the other side you could do journaling, or you could put it on top of your photo on top of the journaling side, and then there would be something pretty on the back. So I put too many photos in here, and I do fix that a bit. But this first day we went to the Canadian Museum of History and learned all about how the Indigenous people came to Canada, and yeah, I feel like it could have touched more on the time when the settlers came, and how they treated the indigenous people, because that is a huge part of our history, and I feel like they could have done more with that and explaining that. But it was interesting to go to. They did have the entire first floor was about the indigenous people, which I was honestly a little bit surprised about, but very glad that they made an entire floor just for that. And then the more recent history was a second floor, if I remember correctly. This was a little while ago now. Well, not that long ago. We went like a month ago. But you know, the museum wasn't like the highlight of our trip or anything, but I'm glad we went, and it was really interesting. We spent, I think, a couple hours there walking and reading and learning and listening and experiencing as much as we could. So, oh yes, I guess I should say we went to Ottawa, and we went to Mont Tremblant, if I'm saying that right, in Quebec. Um, so right now I'm documenting the part of when we were in Ottawa. Actually, it was Gatineau, I should say. Gatineau, Quebec, but they're like, we could literally walk from our hotel in Gatineau to Ottawa because we were like right on the border of that. So that was kind of fun. That we kind of got the best of both worlds. So I just, with those photos, just matted it on some white paper, and I'm going to add some embellishments a little bit later on in this video as well. So now we're working on the second page, and we have a little triangle pocket there, so I'm embellishing that. And then I'm going to embellish the top right-hand corner as well. I'm going to mat this photo and then put it on that top right-hand corner and glue it down there. I didn't do that on the right-hand page because a lot of it would have been covered up, but there was a little bit more space for that on the left-hand page. So you'll see I'll adhere that down, and then I'm going to embellish around it and figure out how to embellish the other photos as well. So yeah, I'm really loving this album and how it's coming together. It's a lot of work, but you get used to it as you go, or at least I'm finding I am getting the hang of its size and shape, and I really, really love it. Yeah, I would definitely repurchase something like this. I think this is really cool. I'm really happy with this. Just adding a little bit more adhesive. I wasn't using cardstock for the mat, and I kind of regret that, especially on the ones that are loose and just hang in there, because I think it could have used a little bit more stability, but that's okay. I still, you know, you try things, try new things, and you learn, trial and error. And I mean, I could add a thicker paper there, but it really isn't that big of a deal. But just next time, if I were to do it over again, that's what I would do. Or if I would give some advice to you, that's what I would do. So I'm just going to take this frame paper, and looking back now, I could have just taken some patterned paper, but I went with this frame, and I just trimmed down this photo a bit to fit in there, and I'm just gonna adhere that down, and I think, oh yes, I do some sewing on it. You'll see at the end, I do some sewing that turned out really cool. I think it's like a zigzag sewing pattern around the photo, and I really liked how that turned out. So you'll see that at the end, and I'm going to do another one on a tag. So kind of each one is a little bit different, and you can see there on my triangle, my matting is not perfect. It's not perfect, but to me it's good enough, and I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking to have my memories documented and for me to have a fun time crafting, and that's exactly what it was today while crafting this. I did have a lovely time doing this, and I cannot wait until this whole album is complete. I think it's gonna look so cool. It'll be oh my goodness, thick and chunky. I combined the words thick and chunky. I don't know what I was gonna say, but I don't know what. Chick, that's what I was gonna say. And that's a real word, so it sounded right at first, but I'm like, no, 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 that's not what I'm trying to say. That's not the right word for the sentence. But now I'm going into the embellishments, and I adore this collection so much. I do have a haul video of this if you want to see it, but I have the chipboard, I have the two ephemera packs, I have the foam stickers, I have the sticker book now, I have the puffy stickers, I have the adhesive brad things that have like a few little chipboard stickers on it as well. I love this collection. It's one of my favorites in the past year. I would say like probably my favorite collection in the past year, at least top three. We'll say top three. Yeah, I really, really do like it. Um, it definitely reminds me of crepe paper, and if you've been following me for any length of time, you know I love crepe paper anything, so that's why I was all over this collection, because it reminded me a lot of crepe paper, and I miss their collections. So, yes, now I'm doing the embellishing, the fun part, the part that we all love, and I love how this all came together. So yeah, this is what those look like with the sewing on them. I will go slowly through everything at the end, but I'm just now adding embellishments to the individual papers, the parts that I missed to embellish. This one I accidentally didn't center it perfectly, and I tried to add other embellishments to even it out, but in the end I just leave it and go, oh well. um, Yeah, so I think the sewing turned out really cool. I like that zigzag sewing at the top of the photos between the photo and the tag. I just felt it looked kind of funny. I don't know. And then I did the zigzag sewing, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's how I want it to look. So, yeah, just doing a few other little details here. I'm going to do a little bit of sewing on that little word sticker. And sorry, so that's where I am right now. I should have cut that part out. This was a long video. I tried to cut out as much as I could. That was the boring part. But yeah, so that's it for the embellishing. And as you can see, I didn't get to the other pages today, but that's okay. You will see them in a future video. So here is the album so far, and I think once the album is complete, I'm going to go back over everything and maybe add like enamel dots or puffy stickers, even to all the pages I've already done, just to, double check things over. And I need to do more journaling there, but I did a little sewing around the photo, and I don't usually do that, but I love how that looks. And yeah, so I am so happy with the way this looks. I love that the left page in particular, but I think they both look really cool. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to put the links down below for Scrapbook Nerd and everything else that I have to pass along to you. Let me know if you've tried one of these albums before. I would love to know. I'm really enjoying this. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye!